I don't care about Epstein because of bold-faced names and political buddies. It's about the allegation that he is a trafficker of minors, females, and who was he doing it for, okay? The problem goes way beyond the world of the rich and famous. There was a ring that was the subject of an operation in Florida, 123 arrests, okay? And the people involved were trying to have sex with kids as young as 10. Among those arrested, camp counselor, elementary school teacher, basketball coach, even a nurse. Scumbags come in like every flavor of humanity there is, okay? Details: FBI agent, Newsnation law and justice contributor Jennifer Coffindaffer, and a woman who's an expert in this and an advocate for more of this type of awareness and prosecution when it comes to trafficking, okay? She's also an attorney for several victims in the Epstein case, Jennifer Freeman. Thank you both for being with me. Appreciate it. So first, on the nuts and bolts side of this, Coffindaffer, how much of trafficking of minors like this is going on in America?
It is widespread, Chris. I just looked up the statistics today, 199,000 individuals right now. And that is really, I think, a very low number because of the manner of reporting. It's just not ever going to encompass everybody. And
when you look at how they did this, what comes out to you? What sticks out to you in terms of the methodology and in terms of what was learned about who was involved and their motives?
I absolutely love this case, and I'll tell you why. Because federally, we work vertically, the kingpin, then down to the recruiters and the people that snatch these kids. But this is the kind of case that goes horizontally. In other words, these are the Johns, and I'm going to call them in this case the pedophile Johns, that were involved in seeking out young girls. Young girls, as you mentioned, as young as the age of 10, and boys, I should say, about 70-30.
And people, the obvious question is, how did they do this, Jennifer?
Well, they did this through undercover operations. Specifically, they would contact via the web individuals and pretend to have young children to offer for sexual favors.
Wait until they figure out how to use AI, so that you don't have to find cops who can pretend to be 10. Two Jennifers on this panel. And thank you very much, Counselor Freeman, for holding fire there for a second. Coffindaffer, thank you. Counselor Freeman, this you want to stitch to the Epstein situation because you believe people have a misunderstanding about what that cause has been about in terms of Epstein and nobody else being in jail, with all of these women complaining about so many different people who abuse them in Epstein's midst. Tell us.
This is sex trafficking for the elite, for the 1%. This isn't someone going to a hotel, motel, back of a car, having a raid. Relatively easy peasy. Not always done, but can be done. Think about it. You want to go to a private island on a private plane and do a raid there with Secret Service? Not so easy.
What do you believe the reality is in terms of accountability in the Epstein situation for the victims that are in the dozens?
Unfortunately, that has not proved to be an accountability opportunity here at all. What's been going on is who's in jail? There's one person in jail, and she's female. What about all the other Johns? What about all the other people that participated in this alleged sex trafficking ring? Where are they?
And time. You have what you believe is a litigable offense against the FBI. On what basis, Counselor, and what happens next?
Well, we have filed what's called a notice of claim with the FBI, which puts them on notice that one of our clients, Maria Farmer, in 1996 reported Epstein and Ghislaine and others, and they did nothing. The FBI did nothing. She reported them again in 2006. Again, the FBI did nothing. Meanwhile, even while there was an active investigation supposedly by the FBI, while Jeffrey Epstein was under look-see in Florida, other people were being trafficked. Other clients of ours were being trafficked, not in Florida, but they were being trafficked in New York. They were being trafficked on the island. So where was the FBI in all of that?
Jennifer Freeman, appreciated. Open invitation to keep discussing this as we go forward. I also agree with your point that for all the drama Epstein's getting in the headlines again, it's just noise for you. It's not going to mean anything for the victims unless we use the awareness to motivate something better in the future. Coffin Daffer, quick button for me and Freeman. Why is it that all the guys who were supposedly involved, because what's the chance that these women are concerting stories when so many of them didn't even know each other, and there are no other guys? Is there a bias against what were called the Johns in these stories, or in favor of the Johns?
I don't know if there's a bias against, and obviously I don't know all the details in terms of what investigation the FBI has done, but I would say really the buck would stop with the U.S. Attorney's Office and DOJ. No one knows whether these cases were presented to the U.S. Attorney's Office and they were turned down.
Well, that is true and not true. We definitely know that people know if the cases were presented and what the basis of proof was and what the basis of the determination was of prosecutorial discretion within the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we should know. Maybe there'll be hearings. Jennifer Coffin Daffer, Jennifer Freeman, thank you to both of you. Appreciate it.